think most everybody's here now, so we'll dig in, get started, get Chase. Lots of time to talk to us. See a lot of familiar faces. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Mickey Mellon, with an agency called Green Mellon Media just off the square. Some of our teams back there, Ashley and Allie and Suzanne is up front recording it, so you'll be able to watch this later. If you go to allthingswordpress.com in the next day or two, there'll be a video of this, so you can, if you missed anything, you can watch. Go from there. Some upcoming meetups, August 6th in this room, so I guess, what was that, 3 weeks from today. Diana Nichols' group. Micah is leading it, I think, yes. Micah Wood will be leading one on an introduction to classes in PHP. So for you developer types want to learn more about PHP, Micah is ridiculously brilliant and it'll be over all of our heads, but hopefully we'll get something out of it. But if you want to learn more about PHP development and some of that should be great. Excuse me. The next Thursday, August 13th, Kathy Druin's group over at the East Cobb Government Center near Mount Bethel Church in Johnson Ferry, that area. Tips for finding the best WordPress plugins. So how to find plugins, what are good plugins, how to verify that you think a plugin might be good, how do you know it might be good without blowing up your site, all that kind of stuff. Then August 27th, a week later than normal for our next one, because this room was booked the third Thursday next month. So August 27th, we're going to do email marketing and MailChimp, that kind of stuff. So that should be kind of fun. All those are up on Meetup. You can go RSVP for those now. And then quickly we'll have Carl Becker come up, click host. Those of you enjoying a nice lunch, that is all his doing, so don't. To donate to the meetup online to cover that. That has nothing to do with him. If you want to thank Carl for the lunch, tell people to use ClickHost. But yeah.
Thank you, Mickey. Yeah, we love sponsoring WordCamp and meetups. ClickHost has been around since 2000, and since about 5 years ago, we do a lot with WordPress. A lot of our clients host WordPress with us. What makes us different? We're local here in Atlanta. We have customers all over the world. We also provide full solid-state drive disks, so it's very fast. We do a lot of before and after comparisons as we migrate from what we call the big box hosters, like GoDaddy and HostGator and some others. And typically we're 40% faster than the big box hosters. So love to sponsor the meetup. I have a bowl. If you want to put money in, that's fine. But I actually just want your business card because we'll have a drawing at the end where you can win a gift card to go and have some more of those sandwiches at Tom and Chi, and also a year of hosting with ClickHost. So the bowl will go around and back.
Yeah, cool. Yes, we'll pull that at the end so you can put your card in there. Yeah, and that's about it. So Chase Livingston works with Automattic, the parent company of WordPress.com. He's on the Jetpack team, and he can come tell you more about himself, and we'll all learn more about some of our favorite plugins.
All right, thanks for having me, guys. So, show of hands, who's using Jetpack already on at least one of their WordPress sites? Okay, so a few folks. I know the questionnaire that went around, I think when you guys RSVP'd, there were quite a few folks that weren't, so I'm excited to jump in and talk about it and hopefully get some more people to install it and use it today. So this can be pretty informal. If you guys have questions as we go, raise your hand, whatever you feel like, and we can talk about things as we go through it. I'm going to try to, there's a lot of material here, so I'm going to try to run through that, and then hopefully at the end we'll have some time if any of you want to actually see how some things work, or if you have your laptops installed on your own site, and those of us who are experienced Jetpack users can maybe help you configure it and check it out. So, what is Jetpack, or as it sounds better since it's called Jetpack, our mission, if you choose to accept it. We bring a lot of the features that WordPress.com has to your self-hosted site, so we give you the flexibility of being a self-hosted WordPress site, while still getting a lot of the awesome features that a hosted WordPress.com site offers. And so you see a list of a lot of the things we do there. I'm going to run through some of those as we go, but yeah, I'll make the presentation available if you want it afterwards. I can give Vicky the link. I won't read all those to you. But those are a lot of the features of Jetpack, and we have obviously even more. So we'll talk through some of those today. And so sort of the big things that Jetpack can do for you, as you see there, customize your site, help you write awesome content, grow and engage your audience, Some of the new features, security and stability of your site, are relatively new to Jetpack, so those might interest some of you. And also increased performance, which everybody I think is concerned about and interested in for their WordPress sites. So we'll start with the site customization options. So we have some custom CSS abilities, a mobile theme if your theme isn't responsive, contact forms, widgets, some extra widgets that don't come in stock WordPress, and also some really neat widget visibility features that you can use to only show certain widgets on particular pages or blog posts, however you choose. So the custom CSS module, you can see here, that's in Appearance, Edit CSS once you install and connect Jetpack to WordPress.com. Basically, if you have some simple CSS, like color changes, simple layout changes, things like that, something that doesn't really require a child theme, if you're doing some crazy, PHP edits to the files, you may want to consider a child theme. But if you just have simple color changes, CSS edits, that kind of thing, the CSS editor here is great. It supports less and Sass preprocessors for CSS as well, if you're familiar with that. And it's also versioned, so you can, as you can see here, it's versioned very similarly to how a post is versioned in WordPress. So you can always jump back if you made a change you didn't like, or accidentally included something that you don't like or didn't mean to include. You can jump back through those revisions as well and change those. And then obviously it's loaded. So another nice thing, once you save it, it's loaded as the last style sheet in line in WordPress. So those changes are going to be the last ones to take effect. So they'll basically supersede any of the other theme changes and things like that. So you don't have to worry about the theme like overriding the changes you've made in the custom CSS module or anything like that. So just a few more notes about it. If you, especially for multi-sites, which most people probably aren't using, but if you are, you can avoid needless child themes for just simple edits and things like that would slow down your site. And there's, like I mentioned, they're stored in your database as a custom post type, so you can always go back to that previous revision if you make a mistake. And also, as I mentioned, the Sass and less preprocessors if you're into that kind of thing. So, contact forms are just an easy way. You don't have to install another, forms plugin. I really like a lot of the forms plugins out there, like Gravity Forms and Ninja Forms and some others. But this is, if you just need a simple contact form and don't need all the really fancy features of one of those other form plugins, this is an easy way to embed a contact form directly onto your site. It automatically emails you, and there it also adds a feedback tab to the left side of your dashboard that also lists the responses to your contact form. So they're emailed and saved locally. You can customize the field. It doesn't have to be the standard name, website, message, all that kind of stuff. You can name the fields whatever you want. You can have one-line text fields or multi-line text fields, that kind of thing. And sort of an added benefit, this last thing here, some people miss. It's actually, they're automatically checked for spam. It ties into Akismet, which is a spam blocking plugin that a lot of you are probably using for comments. And so this contact form automatically ties in, and if obviously a spammer all of a sudden finds your contact form and decides to submit 1,000 submissions, those are automatically weeded out, and you don't get emails or notifications for those, which is really nice. And there's nothing, as long as you have Akismet installed, when you embed one of these contact forms, that all happens behind the scenes, so no configuration or anything like that needed. So sidebar widgets, add in some third-party integrations that aren't included directly in WordPress, like a Gravatar widget, just if you want to have a picture of yourself on the side of your site or something like that. Facebook, Twitter, RSS feeds. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the widget visibility is pretty interesting. You can set basically some rules in each widget that allow you to determine what pages the widget do or don't show up on. So you can do both ways. If you want to show up on a certain page or not to show up on one particular page, you can set that. And you can get pretty fine-grained with some of those rules, and so you can basically customize how the sidebar looks on lots of different pages of your site without having to make 10 different widget areas just to cover the 10 different pages that are on your site. So that's definitely worth looking into if that's something you're interested in. So the next sort of big section is helping you write great content, so post by email, markdown, and several other things that we're going to run through pretty quickly here. So post by email is basically a way that you can email posts into your site without actually having to log into WordPress. So it allows you to generate this secret email address here that hopefully only you will know, as long as you don't give it out to anybody or things like that. And then you can basically email that. The subject line will become the post title, and then the post body obviously becomes the email body becomes the post body of the post when you email it in. And there are some shortcodes you can find on the Jetpack website that are supported in post by email. So when you email in those, if you include a shortcode that's supported, it'll automatically get parsed and processed on the rendering side once that post is actually pulled up in a browser. So it's super easy. It's nice if people are on the go and don't have time to maybe open the WordPress app on their phone or something like that. You can just pull up an email, send it to that address if you want to write out a quick update to your readers or something like that, and you can just shoot that off and it gets posted to your site immediately. So a great way, and it'll also respect publicize and some of the other things we'll get to later as far as publishing that post to social media. That'll happen as well. So Markdown is a really interesting. I write in Markdown a lot. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically a shorthand syntax for writing for the web. So rather than writing H1 tags just around an H1 header, it's just a pound symbol and a space, and then the header tag you want. And so that gets rendered automatically as a header tag in HTML. And so Jetpack has a Markdown module that basically you can just copy and paste in the Markdown you've written on your local machine into the WordPress post editor, and Jetpack automatically parses that Markdown and inserts it as formatted standard HTML into that post, so that it shows up on your WordPress site when you publish the post just like you intended it to. And it's also another benefit of writing in Markdown is it's much more readable than standard like HTML when you're just trying to read it or edit a post that you're writing or something like that. So if you're not familiar with Markdown, first of all, I would recommend just checking it out, and then if you're already using it and either maybe you're trying to format it yourself to HTML, check out the way Jetpack handles it and see if it could work for you to let you write your posts a little bit easier. This is something that's not too terribly interesting unless we have any really like math professors or things like that, but Jetpack also supports a format called LaTeX, and so you can basically insert this line here and it becomes a nicely formatted math equation. So if you're into math and things like that, that's pretty cool. Otherwise, we'll move on. Spelling and grammar. So Jetpack includes some added benefits over just the regular in-browser like spelling and grammar engine, not just misspelled words or commas in the wrong places or things like that. But it can also give you some suggestions to improve the grammar or improve your sentence structure or things like that. And a little disclaimer, it's not going to be perfect. There's no substitute for somebody to actually edit your content if you're really concerned about that kind of thing. But we do what we can to try to help you out with that, to make your posts as great as they can be. So shortcode embeds are, if you're not familiar with shortcodes, they're basically shorthand ways to write certain functions in WordPress. So some plugins may register shortcodes to display links without you having to go out and actually find the link. There's a YouTube shortcode embed, so you basically place the YouTube link within a YouTube shortcode in WordPress, and then the video gets embedded in line automatically, things like that. So Jetpack adds some special shortcodes that aren't included just in WordPress core, and a few of them are listed down here, so like a Google Maps link, Twitter timeline, Scripty documents, Bandcamp, and several other like presentation style templates. I use those. When I give a presentation like this somewhere, I'll use SlideShare's shortcode or something like that to just pop the SlideShare link in, and then it automatically embeds my slides right into my site. Carousel is another interesting feature. If you're using Jetpack, you may already be using Carousel. But basically, it's a nice way to display galleries. When somebody clicks on an image in your gallery, if you're not using Carousel, it basically just usually opens that image up in another tab, or maybe in the same browser window, and just shows that image on a flat white background. But with Carousel, it shows this image in a nice lightbox style, so it basically fades out the content behind it and is a little opaque above it. And it also shows, if you're into like photography and camera data and stuff like that, it also shows what's called the EXIF data, like of the camera you used to take the picture. So if you have like a photography site and you're into gear and things like that, you can show that to your readers what the shutter speed was of your camera when you took the photo and what type of camera you used and things like that. But the thing I like about it most is it just looks really nice, and it's a one-click. You enable the module and you've got the carousel that'll automatically work with any gallery that's already on your site. And so speaking of galleries, tiled galleries are a neat way to display galleries, outside the normal thumbnail gallery or slideshow or something like that. Tile galleries kind of make some assumptions about the photos depending on their size and stuff, and then as you can see, they sort of display them in like not really a random fashion, but an interesting, they give more priority to some larger photos and things like that, and just kind of mix it up a little bit, make it look interesting. And it sort of looks like one big image, but then you can click on each image and open them up in carousel if you'd like, or however you want that to work. And also, if the image have captions, if somebody hovers over one of the images in your tile gallery, that'll automatically slide in over the image and show the caption as well. And like I said, with the carousel, it's just a one-click. You activate it, and then any galleries that are on your site, you can edit the gallery and change it to be a tile gallery if you want from whatever style you were using beforehand. So sort of the next big thing, growing and engaging your audience. We've got several things here, from publicize to comments, all kinds of different things you can use. So I'll run through some of these as well. So publicize, sort of as it sounds, it publishes your new post to your social media accounts automatically. So when you activate publicize, you'll be asked to connect whatever social media accounts you want to publish to, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, Google+, any of the major social networks you can connect. You can obviously connect more than one at a time, not just a single one, and you can even share the connection with all the users on your site. So if you want to connect one overarching account for your site, but you have multiple writers, you can make that account shared so that when they publish a post, they can publicize to that Twitter account or that Facebook account automatically as well. It's just, it happens automatically. So when you publish a post, if publicize is active, it automatically pushes out the title and a link to the post to whatever social network you choose. So it's a super easy way to put your content out. If you don't already have something in line that you like, I would definitely recommend checking it out. And as I mentioned, Facebook, Twitter, Path, Tumblr, Google+, and LinkedIn currently are the supported social networks. So it pretty much covers your bases there. Sharing links are another really nice feature. A lot of people want to have those links either at the beginning or at the end of their post so that folks are able to share them easily and hopefully make the post seen to a wider audience. And so sharing links, you can customize which links are shown. You can customize how they look. So you've got some icons here. You've got just the words here, and then even the official buttons from each service as well. You can customize, you can only have Twitter shown and then have the rest hidden behind a See More button. You can have all of those shown and have none behind a See More button. There's tons of options, as well as quite a few more social networks available than just what's available for Publicize. So you can have Reddit and StumbleUpon and lots of options for sharing available. And so it's just a great way to give users an easy way to share your content. You can customize where it appears, whether it's at the end of your post, the beginning of your post, the middle of your post if you want. Pretty much anywhere you want, you can stick them. So Jetpack comments are basically an extension of the native WordPress commenting system. So with a native WordPress comment, you basically are either logged in with an account on the site, which is not usually the case, or you leave your name, email address, website, or whatever to leave a comment, and then that's your identity. With Jetpack comments, it also allows users on your site to log in with their WordPress.com account, their Twitter account, their Facebook account, and then that becomes their identity in the comment, so that that profile picture from whatever social network they decided to connect is used, and the information there is used rather than them having to type all that information in and not really have, if they don't have their avatar set, maybe they wouldn't have a profile picture show up by the comment. And so it just adds a little bit of a social layer to your commenting. And also, if they're already logged into one of those sites, they can automatically use that connection. We pick up if they're logged into one of those sites, and so you can, pretty seamless integration for them. And like I mentioned, it basically decreases the friction for them to comment. If they already, see that they're logged into Facebook and there's just that comment box there that says, whoever your name is, and then basically leave a comment. There's nothing else they have to do but type in their comment. It's really easy for them, and so hopefully get some more interaction for you on your side as well. And then likes are just sort of a fun little thing. They don't really do a whole lot, but it's just an easy way for folks to, if they like your post, and you see their profile picture shows up here, and it shows you how many people have liked it. So it's almost like a Facebook like. It's just a button you click, and basically a way to say that somebody's read that material or somebody enjoyed it even, and they wanted to let you know that. So just sort of a fun way to allow users to interact with your content. And I usually have it on a lot of my posts, and so coworkers and things like that will just go in and like it, and it's just a nice way to see some engagement and see who's reading your content. Subscriptions are a pretty powerful tool with Jetpack. So it's basically a way for users to subscribe to receive any new post either via email or in their WordPress.com reader from your site. So you can have an email subscribe box as a widget in your sidebar, and they enter their email, and then they automatically are subscribed to your site and get an email when you publish a new post almost immediately. And it's all handled by the WordPress.com server, so there's no load on your site. If you have 5 subscribers versus 5,000 subscribers, it's going to basically be the same. You're not going to notice any difference because we handle actually sending out those email notifications from our end, so they're not queued up on your server or anything like that. So security and stability of your site. This is a big thing these days with malware, and I've heard some people even before we started mention having some issues with the security of their site. So this is just a few ways that Jetpack can help protect your site and also let you know if something's going on with your site as well. So WordPress.com single sign-on is basically a way that you can authenticate a user that's already on your site with a WordPress.com account, and then allow them to just use that one account to log into any self-hosted site that they're a part of. So if you have somebody who, or even if you manage multiple sites, and you have accounts on all those sites, if you enable WordPress.com single sign-on, and as long as the same email address is associated with the account on that self-hosted site and your WordPress.com account, you can use just your WordPress.com account to log into all those sites. So you only have to remember one username and password, and then that'll allow you to log into any sites that you're a member of that have WordPress single sign-on enabled. And so, for security folks, it's all HTTPS secure. SSL certificate is not needed for your site because WordPress.com is actually handling the login, and we're obviously secure and that kind of thing. And it also supports two-factor authentication. So WordPress.com itself supports two-factor authentication, so then that gets basically transferred onto your site if you're allowing somebody to log in with the WordPress.com single sign-on. So that's sort of an added benefit as well. So Jetpack Manage is another interesting feature that sort of along those same lines. Any Jetpack connected site, self-hosted site that you have that you enable the Manage module on, you can actually see and manage a lot of the features of that site from WordPress.com. So when you log in, you can choose one of your Jetpack sites, and it'll show you a list of all the plugins on that site. It'll let you know if there are any plugin updates right in WordPress.com, and you can perform those updates without even having to log into your self-hosted site. So if you have multiple self-hosted sites, if you're a freelancer or something like that, you can authorize Jetpack on any of those sites and allow you to keep those plugins up to date. You can even write new posts. Secure connection on WordPress.com is super nice. We're building out some more functionality to allow you to actually install and change themes via WordPress.com in the Manage feature. And also update a lot of the settings on your site. So if you needed to update a quick setting in the settings panel, you can do that all from WordPress.com and do it across multiple sites without having to go and log into each one separately. So Jetpack Monitor is another feature that allows you to monitor the uptime of your site. So if you enable that, it's just a one-click enable that module, and then if your site goes down, you'll get an email. And it'll let you know that, hey, there's something going on with your site, you might want to check it out. And it's a great way to know if, it gives you an alert if something were to happen with your host and they go down or something like that, especially if your site's mission critical. It'll send you an email and let you know. And it also sends you an email if it comes back up, when it comes back up. Sends you an email to let you know that as well. So it basically checks in with your site every 5 minutes. If it finds a problem, it checks from 2 other geographic locations. So let's say it was checking from our data center in Texas. It would also check from data center in, I think, Japan is where, or Hong Kong is where we have another data center, and then in Europe. And if all those are down, then it lets you know that there's definitely probably a problem with your site. If from 3 geographic locations we can't reach it. So that's a great way to just keep tabs on your site and get a quick notification if something happens. So brute force login protection is also known as the Jetpack Protect module, and it basically can protect you against large scale like brute force attacks. So a lot of times WordPress sites are targets of folks who are trying to log in and perform malicious deeds or other things using your WordPress site. And so if somebody, if an IP address is detected that's failed to log into your site multiple times, we automatically block that IP address from being able to log in again. And also we keep basically a global list of IP blocks for several hours. So every other WordPress site that has this feature enabled via Jetpack will also be protected against that same IP that was trying to log in on your site. So it's a great way to help other users out and also get help from folks if there is a large-scale attack against WordPress, maybe on your particular host or your particular server or something like that. And so it basically just blocks them from logging in, super easy. It's just nothing really you have to configure. You just enable the module, and everything else is handled in the background. So the last section I wanted to mention here, performance. So we have a few things that we can either help you monitor your performance or maybe even increase the performance of your site a little bit. So WordPress.com stats are basically what it says. It's just another way to view the stats on your site, how many visitors you're seeing, what pages they're viewing, what posts are the most popular. And so a lot of people, you may already be using Google Analytics or something like that. A lot of people also like to use the Jetpack stats module just to get another idea. You can then average the 2 together to sort of get an overall picture of users' activity on your site, how many views you're getting, that kind of thing. One of the nice things about WordPress.com stats is that as opposed to Google Analytics, WordPress.com stats can tell when you yourself are logged into your site and thus reject those views. So when you're logged into your site and poking around, maybe checking something new out or looking at some new pages you've created, those views aren't counted in your stats, whereas with Google Analytics they would be, because they have no integration with WordPress itself, so they don't know whether you're logged in or not. So it's a great way to get another view of the stats on your site and that kind of thing. And so we consider it your stats. You can get all those stats either in your WordPress dashboard via WordPress.com, like I mentioned earlier, and also in the WordPress mobile app if you have that installed on your mobile phone. So the Photon Image CDN is one that some folks don't know about, but can provide a huge benefit to your site. So it's offered completely for free. You just activate the module, and basically all the images that are inserted into pages or posts on your site are automatically cached on WordPress.com servers. And then when somebody requests that site, those images are loaded dynamically via that CDN rather than asking your server for the image. So it takes some load off your server and hopefully speeds things up. It's also geographically located so that the person who's requesting the image will be served it from a server closest to them to reduce the load time and things like that. No database changes or anything like that, so if you deactivate it, you're not going to see any adverse effects. It'll just start loading the images back from your site itself. And we obviously don't claim any rights or anything like that to your images, so just because we're serving them for you doesn't mean that we're going to use them or anything like that. It's totally still your image, and we claim no rights or no license to them either. So just an easy way to hopefully increase some performance a little bit across your site and take the load off of your server. Related posts are another interesting Jetpack feature that a lot of people may not know about. But it basically dynamically loads in some posts that are related to the one that a user happens to be viewing at any given time. So all your posts are synced up to WordPress.com, and then we actually perform the related algorithm on our servers. That can take a lot of server performance and that kind of thing. So we like to do it on our servers just because it doesn't bog down your site or anything like that. And then we just when somebody loads a post, we automatically send those results back. So we base it on, obviously, content in the post, tags, categories, similar categories, anything like that. And as you can see, you can display just the post titles. You can display their featured images as well if you'd like. And you can also, by default they're at the bottom of the post, but you can also include them, move them to the top if you want to include them within the post, like halfway down or something. You can do that. A lot of customization options. And like I said, no large indexes of posts or anything like that are on your server. So super quick to load. You don't have to worry about performance issues with that or anything like that. And so I guess the last thing I wanted to mention about Jetpack that is really nice is the maintenance and support aspect. So Jetpack is open source, but we do maintain it. There's a team of about 7 or 8 developers that are constantly working on Jetpack to make it better and that kind of thing. And selfless plug, I'm one of the current support crew of 9 happiness engineers. So if you send in an email to Jetpack support, you have basically a 1 in 9 or so chance that I might be the one to answer, depending on whether or not I'm working that day or who else is working that day. Well, yeah, you can.
We want Chase calling it home.
Yeah, we can work that out. So I would mention Automattic is always hiring. So if you're interested in working on Jetpack or any of the other things that Automattic provides, we're basically just looking to make the web a better place and make publishing easier for folks. So there's a link there, automattic.com/work with us. Fully distributed. We're almost, that number's a little out of date. We're about 400 plus now. So lots of awesome people working all across the world. Get to travel to some pretty cool places and come to do things like this. So at this point, I guess we can take some questions if you have any, and then some folks that are maybe interested in installing Jetpack, we can look at doing that too if you have your laptop. So yes, right there in the back.
My burning question is, if people subscribe via Wordpress.com, can I get access to those names?
Yeah, so you can see those in
Chris,
WordPress.
will you do me a favor? I'm sorry to interrupt. The microphone for the recording won't pick up the sound.
Okay.
So if you repeat the question before you answer it.
So basically, she asked if somebody subscribes, do you have access to those names and the information about the folks who are subscribed to your site? And the answer is yeah. You can go in to WordPress.com and view your list of subscribers, their email address, and that kind of thing. So yeah, you definitely have access to see not only how many people are subscribed, but also the names. Or if they if they choose not to display their name, you'll at least see their username or something like that as well. So yes, ma'am.
The photon feature, is that sort of like Smush or?
Not exactly. So I think what you're referring to the photon feature is that sort of like a Smush It or a Smush plugin or something like that. And so it doesn't actually compress the images on your site. It actually uploads the images to WordPress.com servers, and so then they get served from there. So it doesn't necessarily change their dimensions. It just serves them from our servers, which are generally a lot faster and geographically located, possibly better than what your servers are. And it just takes the load off of your server. So if somebody requests that image, your server basically skips over it because it's loaded in from our servers instead.
So a couple of my sites are hosted by Bluehost.
Right.
So nothing would change. Like it just.
Yeah, it just loads, so you wouldn't see any difference if you went and viewed source for the page. You would see that the image is loaded in from a different URL than from your site, but as far as the actual layout of the page or anything like that, nothing.
So even though
change.
they're up there and I start to use Jetpack, it makes no difference.
No, they look exactly the same. Just behind the scenes, it's loaded from a different location to try to make things a little faster for you. Yeah.
For the CSS, you said it had less and SAS preprocessors. Does that mean you just go to the site and type in less or SAS and it converts it behind the scenes?
Yeah. So the question was, the CSS module includes less and SAS preprocessors, and he asked if you could just go in and insert that, and then it's behind the scenes, convert it to regular CSS, and yeah, that's how it works. You just basically, if you write it in your own text editor, you can copy and paste it in, or if you want to write it directly in the custom CSS module, it gets converted behind the scenes once you save it to regularly formatted CSS and load it in as just the last style sheet in line. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the Photon. So,
Okay.
if you're loading the images to your server and then your images are ranking, now if you decide to reverse that process and don't want to use the Photon service, are you going to lose the ranking for your images, or is it linked to? Is there a different address that it's linking to?
So she asked about basically the search ranking and the SEO for Photon. I don't think you're going to lose that because the images they're still on your site. We're just serving them from a different location. But that's something I would have to research a little bit more to let you know for sure whether the image itself would lose its ranking. I mean, obviously it's not modifying your post content or any of the tags or anything like that you're using. But the specific image itself, I don't think that would cause a problem if you just went and enabled Photon now, because if you hit that image link, it's still going to go to the same place. We don't disable any of the image links on your site. We just insert new links when the page is actually requested. So no, I don't think that would have any effect, but I don't want to say that for sure and be wrong about it.
And a follow-up question to that: if you're migrating from one site to the other, and your images have been served from Photon, is there any issue or any glitches that happen because you'll now be serving from a different server, or?
So no issues with that. The only thing she asked if there would be any issues when you migrate a site or something like that, and so no issues. If you do want to change an image or update an image at some point, you have to change the name of the image. So Photon basically caches the image forever, and so the only way to update Photon and let it know that there's a new image is to change the name. So add a 1 or however you decide to do that, change the name of the image. So that way Photon will pick it up as a new image and serve it. But as far as just migrating, if you're using the same images, no, there's not going to be any problems with that because they're still going to be linking to the same place. Yes, sir.
Is there a schema.org 5-star rating, anything is kind of like that built into this?
So he asked if there was a 5-star rating or anything like that built in. I'm not quite sure what you're asking there.
Well, I mean, if you look at some websites, they add Google ranks, they'll have this web page is ranked 4.5 stars.
Oh, so like a speed ranking or something like that?
I'm just wondering if you can be a member of the site, you should be able to and make comments with those count like as a ranking type system.
I don't think so. So I guess if you were a member of the actual WordPress site, but as far as like just the Jetpack comments, if you're logged in via Facebook or something like that, it doesn't quite work that way. So I think no would be the answer probably to that.
That'd be something I'd look into, guys.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a very valuable thing.
Okay, cool. Yes, sir.
2 questions. So, have you done any kind of performance? Are there any performance gains or losses? First question, and then the second question is, what's next? What else do you?
Yeah. Okay. So first, I'll go in order. First question is performance. I guess research or something like that with Jetpack. And so, yeah, we have done quite a bit of performance comparison to basically the features in Jetpack versus using separate plugins for each of those same features. And so if you just Google, I think, so one of our developers, his name is Sam Hotchkiss, Hotchkiss. He wrote a series of really good posts about, basically he has graphs and things like that comparing certain Jetpack features active versus 5 different plugins that all offer those same features to get the same functionality, and then just like a bare WordPress site with no plugins. And obviously that's always going to be faster if you don't use any plugins. But as far as using Jetpack versus multiple other plugins, it always comes out faster for the same functionality. And then the second question, I guess, was what's next with Jetpack and some new things. So. As I mentioned in the presentation, we're always building out the manage feature to be able to manage more and more of your site, more and more of your sites from one central location without having to log in necessarily if you don't need to those particular sites. Jetpack Protect is going to get some updates. We're constantly updating the way we block IPs and find out which IPs are malicious and that kind of thing. So that's all handled server side, so we can update that real time. You don't have to upload the plugin or anything like that. You just reap the benefits. And then, definitely improvements to speed and performance of Jetpack, so it can always be better and be even less of a burden on your site for what it does. We're always working on that. One of the best places to keep an eye out is the Jetpack blog. So at jetpack.me, there's a link to go to the blog, and we'll always post about new releases and what's included in those release notes and that kind of thing. And also, Jetpack is completely open source, so if you're interested in actually diving in and looking at the code or anything like that, it's on GitHub. It's just github.com/automatic/jetpack. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Are you interested in feature requests?
Yeah, definitely. So she asked if we were interested in feature requests.
Okay. When I activate a module,
Mm-hmm.
the green bar at the top says carousel's been activated.
Mm-hmm.
It would be really helpful if it told me where I would go to find the settings for that module.
Okay.
Right there in that green box, because now I have to go and search for
Okay.
it if I don't know.
So Carousel basically has no settings, so that's
Well,
probably
no,
why,
I mean,
why you're seeing that.
concept,
Yeah, no, I
if you're adding
totally
a
get it.
menu item
Mhm.
to the menu, it would be helpful to know where that is.
Yeah, definitely a great idea. I'll include that. Thanks. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
If I'm using an alternate program right now,
Mm-hmm.
how would I switch to Jetpack?
So she asked if she was using an alternate program, how would she switch to Jetpack? What exactly is the alternate plugin?
WordPress SEO by Yoast.
Okay, so that I would still use probably WordPress SEO by Yoast. It's not something that's a great plugin we see installed alongside Jetpack all the time, and we don't have a lot of the so I know SEO by Yoast does a lot of like ranking of your page before you publish it or your post to let you know if the keywords are great or whatever. And so that's not something that Jetpack includes. So I would definitely recommend just keeping that installed alongside and also using it alongside Jetpack.
So, like for example, right now I have the contact and subscription forms are in SEO by Yoast.
Mm-hmm.
So if I switched to Jetpack and activated those two elements, would they just override what's there now, or would I?
No, so you could. I imagine you could leave both contact forms if you wanted, or you could just rebuild the contact forms you have in Yoast and Jetpack and insert those. And as far as subscriptions, I don't know exactly how Yoast handles their subscriptions, but you could either not use the Jetpack subscriptions feature if you're happy with what Yoast is using, or if you want to activate it. There's not an easy way to import subscriptions from another service into Jetpack. So if you're already happy with the service you're using and that kind of thing, I would probably recommend just sticking with it unless you just have a really good reason to try and switch over. Yes, ma'am.
What about WordFence?
WordFence?
Yes.
So that's she asked about WordFence, which is a security plugin. Honestly, we see a lot of conflicts between WordPress and Jetpack. We do see a lot of conflicts between WordPress and Jetpack. So the way Jetpack connects is there's a file called the xmlrpc.php file on your server, and we basically use that to talk back and forth between your site and our servers. And so WordFence has some pretty hard lockdowns on that, and a lot of times we'll just completely block access to it without the user knowing. And so that if they were able to connect Jetpack in the past, and then they install WordFence, the connection gets broken, and you may not realize it until you notice that something's not working, your subscribers don't get their email notifications or whatever. So if you do, install a security plugin like that, just make sure that it's not impeding the connection to that file or Jetpack or whatever, and you should be fine. I mean, it's a fine plugin to use. You just have to be careful and make sure that it doesn't affect other plugins or your Jetpack connection in that case.
So I would take care of that on the WordFence side.
Right, yeah, just make sure that it's not blocking access to that file, basically, because that file needs to be available for us to be able to connect to your site and also communicate back and forth. That's how we make that connection. So yeah, just make sure that it's not blocking that in any way.
Okay.
Anybody else? Anybody interested in trying out Jetpack maybe? Awesome. So I don't know, Mickey, if you want to have some time for folks to install it, and then I can sort of float around for questions.